Good friends. It is 2 o'clock, and I would like to call to order the April 12th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 15th meeting. They're in your packet. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Is there a motion for approval? We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Trust.
It's approved unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the consent docket. There are a number of items on the consent docket, from contract awards and change orders, some agreements. Are there any items on the consent docket that the trustees would like to consider for individual consideration? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? We have a motion second. Please vote. And it's approved unanimously. Next up is a concurrence docket. There are 5 items on the agenda. A couple of them do have some funds, Aquit funds. A couple of them do not have any funds that involved Aquit. Are there any items on the concurrence docket that the trustees would like to see for individual consideration? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the concurrence docket? Please vote. And it's approved unanimously. Item 5 is an emergency contract. It's a sanitary sewer project in the vicinity of Southwest 29th Street from Meridian to Utah. This will require 4 votes. Is there any questions regarding the emergency sewer repair? Is there a motion? And that is approved unanimously. Items for individual consideration. We have a revised engineering report from CP&Y regarding the South Canadian wastewater treatment plant improvements.
Mr. Chairman, Will Huggins is here to give us a short presentation regarding that facility.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and trustees. I apologize for my voice. I'm getting hit by the seasonal temperature change and allergies. I don't really have any slides. I was just going to kind of give a brief update. This is a project that's been a long time in the making. So the existing plant was built in 1986 and has an average daily flow treatment capacity of 6 MGD. There's 3 primary drivers for the plant improvements, which are one being a waste load allocation study that was completed in 2014 and then updated in 2018. Which changed the discharge permit requirements, which leads to us having to make process improvements at the plant in order to comply with the regulatory requirements. The second being the plant's over 30 years old. A lot of the infrastructure has reached the end of its useful life. That presents operational challenges, and these improvements will address the asset end of life, and then also improve operational efficiencies. And the third being the influent flow projections over the near term are projected to exceed the current treatment capacity. So we'll be adding around 3 MGD of treatment capacity to the plant. As we approached 100% design, ODEQ issued the revised draft discharge permit, which resulted in some higher dissolved oxygen limits, which made us enter a redesign, which is the reason you're seeing the revised report and updated plans. And we're moving from a traditional aeration, diffused aeration system to an enhanced oxygenation system that uses pure oxygen to inject air into the the wastewater effluent to meet the meet the permit requirements. And now that we've updated the plans and specs and the report, we're ready to go to bid. And I can take any questions you might have.
So the additional, existing capacity is 6 MGD, and this will go to 9?
Yes, sir.
So 9 MGD facility for $156 million?
No, that's an old number. It's what now, Will?
Well, with the commodities increases we've seen over the last 30 to 45 days, the projection is in the mid-160s, if you include all commodities, risk, contingencies, and the price. The mid-150s is kind of like a mid-level based estimate without the contingency added.
Okay. How many bidders do we expect?
Right now, we've been engaged with the contracting community, and we expect to receive 3 bids at least.
All right, any questions for Will?
Thank you, Will.
The next item on the agenda is to approve the plan specifications.
Well, we can do them both at the same.
Sorry, I was jumping ahead of you.
Okay. Yeah, this is 6A2 with plans and specs for the facility. Is there a motion for approval? Please vote. And it's approved unanimously. Item B is a presentation on project WC 0874, Atoka Pipeline Raw Water Transmission Line. Larry Hare.
Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. So, just to give you a frame of reference of where this project is located, it is between the Ada, it's along the northeast side of Ada. This is Lake Atoka here, and this is Stanley Draper Lake right here. Taking a closer look at it, it's almost 9 miles of pipe coming from the Ada pump station to the Canadian River. Well, it will connect to another project we have to tunnel underneath that river. McKee Utilities Contractors was the apparent low bidder for a bid of about $37.2 million, which is roughly about $500,000 lower than the engineer's estimate. Now, that $37.27 million is just for installing the pipe. I just want to give you a look at what the cost of the actual pipe itself would be. So in a previous meeting, I described how we have a pricing agreement with Thompson Pipe Group to manufacture and deliver if necessary, or store if necessary, and then deliver to wherever the contractor needs to take it. And we would be paying for that pipe for that particular segment when it reaches the job site. So in order to start that process, we issue a PO number 1, purchase order, for $10,000 so that the pipe supplier will get with the contractor and they do their negotiation and coordination for delivery, for the laying schedule and submittals and things like that. Once that lay schedule has been determined, then the design engineer takes a look at it and approves it. And then based upon the quantities in that lay schedule, which is a list of all the different types of pipe that they will need, we will apply the pipe pricing from the pricing agreement along with certain indices. So in this case, this would be the steel index and the CPI index. So taking a look at the steel index, from when we opened bid on March 9th, the price of steel was $1,166 a ton. As of last Friday, it had increased to $13 a ton, which is about almost a 30% increase in the price of steel. For the CPI index, the new numbers for the CPI index just got published today, so this is for last Friday. And as of last Friday, we were looking at a 12.5% increase. Since they reported the numbers today, I think we're now looking at about a 14% increase. So, comparing the theoretical pipe price from when we opened bid to last Friday, the difference turned out to be about $4 million. which would be about a 15.7% increase from March to about a month later to last Friday. So counting the construction cost along with the theoretical pipe price, we were looking from $58 million from when we opened bid to $61.4 million if we were to issue a purchase order at that time. And that's just to illustrate the volatility of the price of steel.
So when are you going to order or issue a purchase order for the pipe?
We're going to have a kickoff meeting with the contractor tomorrow, and the pipe supplier will also be there, and that is where I will issue the first PO for the pipe supplier and McKee to get together and start their coordination. In the contract, they have 60 calendar days to come up with the final form of the lay schedule. Talking with our program manager, Don Douglas, he thinks that McKee thinks that we might get it in 30 days. So we'll see how fast they go, as everybody's eager to get this thing started.
So this is 8.8 miles.
Yes, sir.
It's quite a bit shorter than some of the other segments, right?
That's correct.
Why is that? Just because it's from the river to the pump station, and that's just what it fell out at, or?
Well, when we were trying to get the permit for the from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife for the American burying beetle, that was one of the segments that we did a survey, American burying beetle survey, and only had a couple of hits, positive hits for the presence of the American burying beetle. And during that time, we had an understanding with the Fish and Wildlife that if we did a survey like that and we didn't have any hits or anything like that, then we could begin construction. So when we did the survey a few years ago, we didn't have any positive hits for the beetle along that stretch, so we're getting ready to get that one out. Unfortunately, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife changed its mind and said we could not do it. So this project had been sitting on the shelf ready to go for about 2 years.
So most of the others will be in the 15-mile range?
13 to 15 miles, correct.
Okay. Other questions from the trustees?
Mr. Chairman, I have one more comment. You saw early in Larry's slides there, the original price for the pipe was about $152 million. That was with a pipe index of just under $800 a ton. So we're more than double. Had we been able, and we actually signed the contract back in 2018, had we been able to get the Fish and Wildlife permit in a reasonable amount of time, we could have started years ago when the price index or the steel index was much lower. So this delay and the war in Ukraine, where a lot of the raw material comes from to make the steel, no telling where the index is going to end up. However, we can't continue to delay this project. Early reports indicate that based on consumption and growth in the area, if we have a major drought 4 or 5 years down the road, we may be forced to limit outdoor water use and other things. So we need to get this pipeline built. So we have no choice. We need to move on with these projects.
All right, is there a motion for item 6B2, which is ratifying and approving addendums 1 through 4 and adopting a resolution extending the time of contract award and awarding the contract to key utility contractors? Is there a motion? Oh, we do, I should vote. And it is approved unanimously.
Thank you, Larry.
Any items from trustees this afternoon? General manager reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to give everybody an update on Lake Draper. We have all of the connections from the balancing tanks along the Atoka pipeline installed now on the new balancing tanks. We have all the electrical work that we needed to get done completed. So the pipeline is back in service, running full speed. The lake is about 8 feet down. both McGee Creek and Atoka are nearly full, so we have plenty of water to move to Lake Draper. The other lakes are full, so we're in good shape there. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Browning? Seeing none, I'm not advised of any citizens that are here to speak. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.